Hello everyone, in this video we are going to talk about the problems of code drift day 2. The problems are based on heaps and segment trees. So let's get started. First problem is magical pool and items. So let's give it a read. There are n items in the magical pool where ith item has AI0 quality and AI1 quantity. Now Robin is trying to be greedy and he wants to maximize the total quantity of items. But he can only pick one item at a time with the highest quality available in the pool with corresponding quantity. Right, so if you are given certain elements in the pool and you want to pick some element, then the quality of that element needs to be highest at that point of time. Now let us say the quality of item picked is x. The pool is magical and all items in the pool with similar quality disappears, and a new item with quality equals floor x by 2 and quantity equals x into 2 is added. Now Robin will never choose the item with quality 0, and we need to return the maximum quantity of items Robin can pick. Since the answer can be large, we need to return it modulo 10 raised to power 9 plus 7. Okay, so this is the problem statement. Now let us talk about some example, but first let's see the constraints. So the constraints are n can vary from 1 to 10 raised to power 5 and all the elements can vary from 1 to 10 raised to power 9. Right, now let us talk about some test cases and then we'll move on to the solution. Now let us talk about this example test case. So we are given an array which contains 4 elements and each element consists of quality and quantity, right? And now I need to return the maximum quantity I can have. Okay, but at any step we can only choose the elements which have maximum quality, right? So in order to do so, what we can do here, we can see that out of these 4, 5 comma 2 and 5 comma 1, these two elements are the ones which have maximum quality, and that is 5 at this point of time. So out of these two, if I need to maximize the quantity, which one I am going to choose, right? So I'll obviously choose the one with the larger quantity. So out of these two elements, I want to choose the one with the larger number in the second place. So I'll choose this element. So let's say I am storing my answer in some answer variable, then my answer will be 2 right now. Okay, now since I have chosen an element which has quality 5, so I have chosen this element from this example. So now I need to remove all the elements which have quality 5, right? Because this is given in question. If you are choosing some element with some quality x, you are going to remove each and every element with quality x. So I'm going to remove this element as well and this element as well, right? So let's remove them from the test case now. Now I remove both the elements. Now the quality that I chose was x, right? So x here is 5. Now I need to add another element which has quality x by 2, and that by 2 is integer division. So 5 by 2 is 2 here, and quantity x into 2, and that is 10. So I'm going to add this element to this array. So let's add 2 comma 10 here. So now my array looks like this, right? Now again we need to iterate over this array. Now again what I'm gonna ask, I'll ask for the elements which have maximum quality here. So again I'll see that I have 2 comma 10 and 2 comma 11. These are the one with the maximum quality as 2, right? Now out of these two, I need to select the one which will maximize my quantity. So I'll select 11 and I'll add 11 to the answer, plus 11, right? Now since I'm selecting the second element, this one here, I need to remove all the elements with quality 2. So let's remove them. Okay, now since the quality is 2, I need to add one more element which has quality 2 by 2. So x is 2 here. So I'll add the element 2 by 2, that is 1 comma 2 into 2 4. So I need to add this to the array here. Now again we have two elements here, right? Now again we need to do the same steps. I need to check the element which has maximum quality, right? So the maximum quality here is 1 only. and out of these two elements the one with the maximum quantity is 4, right? So I'll add 4 to the answer, and I'll remove all the elements with quality 1 now. So I'll remove both of these elements. Now since our x is 1 here and x by 2, when we do 1 by 2 integer division we get 0, right? And it is explicitly stated in the question that we cannot use quality 0, right? So our new quality that we will yield is x by 2, so that is 0 right here. Since we cannot use the quantity which has quality 0, so we are not going to proceed here, right? So if x equal to 1, we are going to just break out of the loop, and since the array is empty now, we cannot select any more quantities. So our answer will be the sum of all these elements. Okay, so that will be 16, 17. So 17 is our answer for this test case. Now one thing to notice with this example test case is that at each point of time, from the given number of elements, we are selecting the one with maximum quality, and out of all those elements, we are selecting the one with maximum quantity, right? And after selecting this element, we are adding the maximum quantity to the answer, and after that, I'll try to get all the elements which have the quality equal to maximum quality, and I'm going to remove that element, right? So I need to think about a data structure which can do operations of getting the maximum out of some number of elements and removing the element with the maximum quality, right? Since we are removing the maximum quality at each point of time. So these are the observations that we need to make in order to proceed to the answer. Now we need something that can support getting the maximum element first according to quality, then according to quantity, deleting the maximum element which has maximum quality at that point of time, and inserting some new element, right? So all these three operations are supported by priority queues, or basically heaps. So what we can do, we can create a heap which, and in that heap I'll push all the elements of the array, and after that I'll just simulate the process which I have just explained to you with the example, right? At each point I'll pop the topmost element and I'll add the quantity which it has to the answer, and I'll remove all the elements which are on top and which has the quality equal to the quality which I have just used, right? And after that I'll insert another new element which is again x by 2 comma x into 2, and here x is the quality we have just removed, right? So these are the operations we are going to use, or basically we are just simulating the whole process with the help of heaps. So that is the whole idea behind this, and that is the solution to this problem as well. Now let us make it more clear by understanding the sample code. Now let us quickly see the code to this problem. So we are given an array, and what I'm doing here is I'm creating a pair which will consist of quality and quantity. So this is our priority queue, or basically the heap. Now I'm pushing all the elements to the priority queue. Now I don't need the array, I'll just do all the operations. I'll just basically simulate everything in the priority queue, right? As long as priority queue is not empty, what I'm doing, I'm popping the topmost element. Why topmost element? Because it consists of the element which has maximum quality at that point of time, and also the maximum quantity among all the elements which has maximum quality right now. Okay, so we need to add the quantity to the answer because it is maximum. Now I need to remove all the elements which have quality equal to the quality which we have just used, right? So this loop is doing just that. It is just checking as long as the topmost element of the priority queue is equal to the quality which we have just used, then it is going to pop that out, right? After that we need to insert something new as well, but x by 2 comma x into 2. Now if x by 2 is 0, then we can ignore that, right? Because we cannot use the quality 0. So I'm checking here if top dot first by 2 or top dot first is equal to the quality here, or we can say x here. If it is greater than 0, then only we'll push another new element to the answer, right? So I'm just basically simulating this process, and after that I can return the answer. That is the whole code. So that's it for this problem. Now let us see the second problem. The second problem is range shopping. Let us give it a read. Hamid is visiting a fair near his village. There are n shops of toys arranged in a line from left to right, numbered 1 to n. There are two types of toys in each shop. The toy of type 1 costs AI 0 coins and the toy of type 2 costs AI 1 coins. Right. Now he asks you to solve Q queries for him. Each query will be of type L, R, X, Y. So he visits each shop from L to R in this order and he will buy exactly one toy from each of the visited shops. But he wants to buy at least X toys of type 1 and at least Y toys of type 2. So in a given range LR, he is going to buy at least one toy from every shop and he need to buy at least X toys of type 1 and at least Y toys of type 2. Right. Help him find the minimum cost for buying the toys. Since the answer can be large, we need to return it modulo 10 raised to power 9 plus 7. Right. So this is the problem statement. Now there is a prerequisite to this problem and that is merge sort trees. Merge sort trees, these are basically a mixture of, we can say, merge sort and segment trees. So we need to know merge sort trees in order to completely solve this problem. But still, I'll try my level best to separate the logic of merge sort trees from the logic of this problem. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a sub problem that can be solved quite easily with merge sort trees. So the logic will be separate for that. So you can watch the complete video and after that you can learn merge sort tree to solve that sub problem. Right. Now let us talk about the problem constraints. The first problem constraint is n and q both lies from 1 to 10 raised to power 5 and obviously LR is in the range of 1 to n. Now x plus y, it will be either at least 0 and will go to r minus l plus 1. Right. The complete, so x plus y can be at max the complete range and at minimum it will be 0. Right. And each and every element of the array, it is from 1 to 10 raised to power 9. So these are the problem constraints. Now let us talk about the solution to this problem. Before moving on to the solution to this problem, let us discuss one example test case. So we are given the array. So array A contains 4 elements. So we have 4 shops, right? 4 shops which contains items 1 2 4 2 3 2 and 4 3, right? So these are the 4 shops and these are the 2 types of items. This is the first type, this is the second type. Now we are given queries, right? So queries are in the form of L, R, X, Y, right? So the first query is 2, 3. Let me write the index for these elements. Now in the range of 2, 3, I need one element of type X and one element of type Y, right? Since we need to shop at least one element from each and every shop, now what I'm gonna do, I'll try to buy one element from here and one element from here. If I buy the first element of index 2, then I definitely need to buy the second element of index 3. Why so? Because we need at least one of each type, right? So our answer will be either 4 plus 2 or 2 plus 3. 4 plus 2 is 6, 2 plus 3 is 5. So I'll obviously choose the one which has minimum cost. So I'll buy the second element of the second index and first element of the third index, right? So that's how we solve for the first query. Now let us look at the second query as well. Now as we know what actually the problem statement is asking us, so now I'm going to explain the solution with the help of second query. Okay, so the second query is, the range is 1 to 4. So in this case we have the complete range and we need at least 2 elements of type 1 and at least 1 element of type 2, right? So the solution approach is, what I'll do, first I'll buy all the elements of type 1 from every shop, right? Then I'll have elements 1 4 3 4 which I bought. Now What if I bought the first element of type 2? Then how much extra I need to pay? Then if I buy the element of type 2, then I need not buy the element of type 1. Then the amount that I need to pay extra is 2 minus 1, right? Similarly, for second element, I'll need to pay 2 minus 4, which is minus 2. So it will reduce my cost. Similarly, here it is 2 minus 3, and here it is 3 minus 4, right? Or we can write them as 1 minus 2 minus 1 minus 1, right? So these four elements represent how much I need to pay if I'm going to buy type 2 instead of type 1, right? If I am buying the second element of type 2 from second index, then I need to reduce my cost by minus 2, right? Since I am asking to minimize the whole cost, what I'll do here, out of these four elements, I know that I need at least one element of type 2. So if I have to select at least one element of type 2, I'll select minus 2 because it is reducing our cost by minus 2, right? So I'll select the second element. Okay, so let's say I selected the second element, then what will be our answer? Our answer will be 1 plus 4 plus 3 plus 4. These are all the elements that we bought. And now since I'm buying the second element of type 2, then minus 2, right? So our answer is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 minus 2, that is 10, right? So I got 10 as the answer right here. And what I did here, I chose one element from this one and three elements from this one, right? Since it is not mandatory for us to choose three elements from type 1, what if I only choose two elements of type 1 and two elements of type 2? Then what will happen? Okay, so in that case, let's say I am choosing two elements of type 2, then I can select any of these two elements, right? Because they are reducing our cost by 1 as well, right? So let's say I selected the third element, then I'll subtract again 1 from it, and then my cost is 9 here, right? Now in this case, I chose two element of type 1 and two element of type 2, right? And I got the cost as 9. Now, can I choose one element of type 1 and three elements of type 2? No, because we have a restriction that we can use at least two elements from type 1, right? We need to buy at least two elements from type 1. So that's why we can only minimize our answer to 9, right? So what I'm doing here, if I write it concisely, so our algorithm is, first we will first we will assume that we are buying all the elements of type 1, right? We are buying all four elements from type 1. Then after that, I'll subtract all the element of type 1 with their respective type 2s, and we'll get these four values. What do they represent? They represent how much we need to increase or decrease our cost in order to make our cost minimum if we try to choose the ith element, right? Try to understand this. If I try to choose the second element, then if I buy the second element, or if I buy the type 2 element of second index, then I don't need to pay 4, right? I need to pay only 2. That means I am getting a reduction of 2. So this minus 2 represents that reduction only, right? Now since I have this array, let's say the number of negative elements in this is neg. These are the number of negative elements. Why do I need the number of negative elements? Because as many negative numbers as I can choose, I will reduce my cost to that extent, right? The more negative numbers I will have in my answer, like if I choose all three elements from this array, then I can reduce my answer to minus 4, minus 2 plus minus 1 plus minus 1, that is minus 4. So my cost will be reduced if I'll choose all the negative numbers, right? Now there is one more restriction, that I need at least y elements from this second array, right? So I need at least y elements. Since I need at least y elements, and with how many max elements we can take from the second array, so I'll try to take all the elements which are negative. So I will move with the maximum of y comma negative, right? Now there is one more restriction. Since I need x elements of type 1, so that means, so at max from type 2, I can only select n minus x elements, right? because I need at least x elements of type 1. So I'll minimize this with n minus x. So whatever I'll get this, let's say I got this as k, then I need the sum of all those k elements, right? So in this case our k is 2. In our second case our k is 2. Why 2? Let me clean it up a little bit. Now for our second query, as I said that our k is 2. Why 2? Because the number of negative elements are 3, right? I can select at max 3 elements, but how many elements at least I can select? That is 1, right? So I'll try to select maximum of them. Now I need to select 2 elements from the first array as well of type 1. That means I can select at max 2 elements from type 2. So I need to minimize this with 2. So if we get it, this is 3 comma 2, and if we minimize it, I get 2. So I need to select 2 elements of type 2. Now since I need to select 2 elements of type 2, I need the sum of 2 minimum elements from type 2, right? Like I cannot select these 2 elements. Why? Because I need to minimize my answer. So I will select those 2 elements which are minimum at that point. So I need, what I need here, I need sum of k minimum elements in range L to R, right? So that is the sub problem I was talking about, sum of k minimum elements in range L to R. So that is the problem which we can solve with merge sort. Okay, so this problem can be solved with merge sort tree, not merge sort but merge sort tree. So that is the whole logic behind this problem. Now how can I solve this with merge sort tree? So in order to understand that, you actually need to understand the merge sort tree. Now how can we solve this problem with merge sort tree? So if you understand the merge sort tree, you know that merge sort tree is just like a segment tree, but at each point, like we store at each node, we'll store the complete range, and that range will be sorted. So like if I'm talking about some range L to R, then we store all the values of L to R in sorted form. So whatever we'll have here, that will be in sorted form, right? That's how merge sort tree works. Now since we are storing all the elements in sorted form, we'll take one more array, and that will store the prefix sum of this sorted form, right? The prefix sum of this sorted form. So in this way, what I'll do, I'll just get the kth element of this prefix sum. Okay, because I need the sum of k elements, right? So I can get the kth element of this prefix sum, and getting the kth element in sorted form, this is the standard problem of merge sort tree, right? So that's how we can solve it with merge sort tree. Now let us check out the pseudocode to this problem. Now let us talk about the sample code to this problem. So the sample code starts from here. We are given the solve function. We are given an array A and an array B. So what's actually happening here? This array is the one containing elements of type 1 and type 2. This array B is the one which contains all the queries, right? Here I am doing all the clearing and stuff. We'll talk about this later, what actually this segment and SM is storing. So first off, I am storing type 1 elements in AI, type 2 elements in BI, right? After that, I am doing a prefix sum on type 1 elements, or basically AI or the array A, and we are storing it on SA. Why? Because if I am talking about some range L to R, as we have already discussed this, first we are assuming that we are buying all the elements of type 1. So in order to get the sum of that range, sum of all the elements in range L to R, I'll need some kind of prefix sum, right? So that's why I'm using that SA. Now I'm doing here is NEGI. NEGI basically stores all the negative elements if we talk about BI minus AI. So what is BI minus AI? We are subtracting type 2 element with type 1 element here. because we need to know how much we need to increment or decrement if we shift from type 1 element to type 2 element, or rather if we buy type 2 element instead of type 1 element. Okay, so negative I, it tells us how many numbers are negative when we talk about the array which stores bi minus ai, right? So that is negative I storing. After that we are pushing back bi minus ai and its index to a vector. I'm going to explain it later. This is needed in merge sort tree. Okay, after that we are sorting the vector and then we are building the merge sort tree, right? So don't think about the merge sort tree right now. Just let's say we have built some merge sort tree and it is working in background, right? After that we are iterating over each query, and what we are doing, initially I am saying that my answer is sum of all the cost in the range L to R of array ai, right? That's why we store it in array sa, right? Sa contains all the prefix sums of array ai. So initially I have assumed that my answer is that I have bought all the elements of type 1. So this is our current answer, right? And this could stores how many negative numbers are there in the range L to R when we talk about bi minus ai array. Okay, now after that I am doing a query which will work in range L to R, and it will ask for, we have talked about this relation, maximum of good comma x2, here good represents number of negative numbers and x2 is the minimum number of values we need from second array. Similarly, it should be minimized with r minus l plus 1 minus x1 because we need at least x1 elements of type 1, right? So that's why we are querying it, and this query function is giving us sum of k minimum elements in the range L to R. Okay, so this is what we are getting from this query function, and we are storing it in answer, and then we are pushing back it to result, and then we are returning the result. So basically the problem boils down to finding the sum of k minimum elements using merge sort tree, right? Now I'm going to explain the merge sort tree. So if you understand merge sort tree, then only proceed from here. Otherwise pause the video here, go read about merge sort tree first, then come back here. Okay, so now let's move on to the concept of merge sort tree. So here what I'm doing, this is the build function. It is a recursive function. If L equal to R, that means we are at leaf node. It is, the logic is basically similar to the one of segment tree. Here our SEG stores all the elements in range L to R, rather all the index of elements in range L to R in sorted form. Okay, so we are storing the indices here, right? And this SM, this will store the prefix sum, as we have already discussed about this as well, that we can take another array. So SM is storing the prefix sum of all those elements in range L to R which are already sorted. So we are doing the prefix sum of them in some array called SM, right? If L is not equal to R, that means it is not a leaf node. Then we will divide it into two segments from L to mid and then mid plus 1 to R. We will build on them. After that we are merging them. This merge function basically merge two sorted arrays. So that is what is happening here. And after merging, I will get some array which is sorted in range L to R in this seg node. Okay, in this seg node vector I'll get all the array which is sorted in range L to R. Now I need the prefix sum of that in our SM node, because SM node will contain the prefix sum in range L to R. So this code is basically doing the prefix sum in that range. Okay, so this build function is basically building two things. The first thing is the segment itself. It will contain all the sorted elements in sorted form, and the second thing we are doing is we are doing the prefix sums here, right? Now let us move on to the query function. Query function is again similar. It is also recursive. If L equal to R, that means it's a leaf condition. Leaf node will return the sum of that node. Otherwise, I am going to distribute our range. Here, the range we are querying in is x, y. So don't confuse it with L and R. Here L and R is different from x and y. Now what I'm doing, I am storing this last variable and first variable, and then after that I am storing the subtraction of last minus first in M. So what is happening here is I am doing an upper bound in segment 2 into node. So when we are in any node form, and when we talk about 2 into node, we are actually talking about the left child. since we are querying on 2 into node, we are actually counting how many elements lie between range x to y in the left node, right? Okay, so this M stores number of elements which are in range x to y and they are in left part. Okay, so if these elements are greater than equal to k, and since we need only k elements, I'll just query to the left part. Otherwise, I will need some more elements from the right part as well, right? And I need to include the complete left part. So I'm including the left part here, and I am querying for the rest of the elements. How many elements I need? K minus M elements. So I'm querying for those rest of the elements right here. So that's how the query function basically works. Okay, so that is the superficial idea behind merge sort trees. So I cannot completely explain it to you right here. You need to first read the theory behind this. There are some really good blogs regarding merge sort trees. You can Google them up. So that is pretty much it for this problem. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more content in future, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.